The first journal entry we're going to be doing this semester is scientific notation. Okay? So you should have picked up this paper when you walked in the door. You should have something to write with. You need scissors, you need glue, and you need to have two highlighter colors. Okay, so two different colors. I'm going to be working with, let's see, I got a green and a pink. Okay, make sure they work. Yep. Okay, so I've got this neon green and pink. Okay, so that's the supplies you need before you get started on this. All right, now with any journal entry, always want to make sure, one rule of thumb, never ever cut or glue until I tell you to do so. Never cut or glue until I tell you to do so, so you don't make a mistake on how it's supposed to be done. All right, so go to your table of contents. All right, put in the date. Today's date for you guys, this is going to be done on Tuesday, January 13th. Okay, so 1/13. All right, the entry is titled Scientific Notation. And it's going to be on page 1. Okay? Alright, now find page 1. Remember, you've got 2 pages of table of contents. Now this is going to be page 1. Record the page number at the top right hand corner. Okay, page 1. Now with this one you don't have to write in the title because it's going to be provided for you. We will glue this in later. Not yet. We're going to write on it first and then we'll glue in. Okay? So, scientific notation. What is it? Well, it should be something you're familiar with. Scientific notation is simply a method for expressing and working with very large or very small numbers. It's a shorthand method for writing numbers and an easy method for calculations. Okay, so it makes working with big numbers and little numbers easier. Okay, scientific notation is made up of 3 different parts: the coefficient, the base, and the exponent. Okay, so we have here the coefficient, which are the numbers in front. So with your highlighter, one of your colors, highlight coefficient. Okay, those are the numbers in front. The base is always the same. That times 10 is the base. We use a base 10. Okay, that will never ever ever change. You can put a box around that. Alright, the exponent. Okay, the exponent is that little number up above. Okay, so scientific notation for this number, 567,000, that number is a really big number. This is how we can write it in scientific notation. Okay, so this is standard notation and this is scientific notation. It's coefficient, it's base, and it's exponent. Okay, if we're going to work with this, we can also do this with really small numbers. So take this really small number, 0.0000829. Alright, that's in standard notation. Here it is written in scientific notation. We have the coefficient, the 8.29. We have the base, a times 10, and we have an exponent, a -5. Okay? Now, the exponent is probably the most important thing right here. That positive exponent, that tells us we have a big number. Okay, 567,000, pretty big number. Alright, a negative exponent. That tells us we have a small number. Okay, and there's your example of a small number, 0.00029. Okay, so these are different parts: your coefficient, your base, your exponent. The exponent and the coefficient, most important parts. The exponent probably the most important part because it tells you if it's a really big or really small number. Okay, now take your scissors. The dotted line, cut on the dotted line. Okay, set that paper aside. This right here, go ahead and cut out every single one of those boxes. Now I recommend, generally speaking, that you always cut the border off of something first, because then you end up with less little pieces of trash. So I'm first cutting off the border of this, and then we'll cut out all those little boxes. Okay. There we go. Cut quickly. This is not an art class, so it doesn't have to be perfect, just enough. Okay. And here's the other. Cut out every single one of those boxes. And please make sure your trash does not fall on the floor. We don't want the janitor to hate us. We want the janitor to like us and clean the room nicely. So if there's lots of little pieces of paper on the floor, janitors don't really like that. Okay, so all the trash. Okay. So this top portion that has all the words and explanation, you can go ahead and glue that in. Now, with the glue, you don't need a lot. Notice I'm using bottle glue. My experience is that glue sticks, anything you glue with glue sticks, in about a month and a half to 2 months, it comes out. You don't need a lot of glue. I probably put way too much down there than you really need. Put it on. I like to wiggle it around a little bit so it smears the glue. And there you go. Make sure you leave space at the bottom because we're going to be gluing these things into the bottom. But first, we have a few little notes to write in. Okay? Alright, so write this in. Plus sign in parentheses. Positive exponent means big number. And then put a negative sign here in parentheses. Negative exponent means small number. Sorry, my handwriting isn't the most beautiful. That's why a lot of this is typed up. Alright, now, scientific notation is something you should have already done in more than one class. You should have done a lot of it in chemistry last year, okay, or last semester. Alright, all these little pieces of paper, we're going to take each one of these and we're going to fold them. And we're going to practice writing numbers in scientific notation. Fold on the dotted line so you can still see the number. Fold on the dotted line so you can still see the number. Fold on the dotted line so you can still see the number. Quickly fold all of those. Okay? Finish getting those notes written down and get these folded as quickly as possible. Again, this is not an art class. It doesn't have to be perfectly cut and folded, just good enough for the notes. Okay, doesn't matter what order these are in, really. Let's do this. Find 6.3 times 10 to the 3. Okay, if this video is going too fast, ask the substitute to pause it now. Okay, 6.3 times 10 to the 3. Okay, the way you do these numbers, you have to write down the coefficient. You need to record the coefficient, and then you're going to look at the exponent to decide whether it's going to be a big number or a small number. The exponent is positive, so this is going to be a big number, so we're going to move the decimal 3 times to make this a bigger number. Okay, so 6.3, if I move the decimal this direction, the number is going to be getting smaller. So I want to move the other direction. If I move the decimal this direction, the number gets bigger. So 6, 3, okay, the decimal was here. I need to move it 3 times to make it a larger number. So I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3 times. That's where the decimal is going to go to make that a larger number. 6,300. Okay? So that's how you convert a number from scientific notation into standard notation. Okay? Let's do this one. 7.5 times 10 to the negative 4. Negative 4 tells me it's going to be a small number. So if I move the decimal to the right, that number gets bigger. If I move it the other direction, it's going to get smaller. We want the number to get smaller, so we're going to move the decimal that direction. Okay? So 7 and the 5, and I need to move the decimal 4 spaces to make that number smaller. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Put the decimal there and fill in with zeros. So 0.00075. That's the number written in standard notation. There it is in scientific notation. 0.00075. Okay? Alright, 2.5 times 10 to the negative 1. Alright, negative 1, making it a smaller number. So, but I'm only moving the decimal 1 place. So if I move it this way, it becomes 25. Move it that way, it's 0.25. 0.25 is a smaller number, so move the decimal 1 space that direction, 0.25. Okay? Go ahead and pause the video here and try and do the rest of them on your own. Pause the video here and try and do the rest of them on your own, and then we'll check them. Okay. So 7.81 times 10 to the 1. That's a positive 1. So making the number bigger, I'm moving the decimal only 1 place. So I'm going to move it this direction to the right to go from 7.81 to 78.1. Okay. So 781, decimal 1 space from here to there, 78.1. Okay, 9.08 times 10 to the 2. This is going to move 2 places. That's a positive exponent, so this is going to get a bigger number. I need to move it 1, 2 spaces to make that a bigger number. So 908. Move it 1, 2 spaces, 908. 4.32 times 10 to the 4, making it that's a positive exponent, making this a bigger number. So move the decimal 4 times. 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Fill in with zeros. There we go. 43,200 is the number. Okay. 1.02 times 10 to the negative 2. Okay. Negative 2 means this is going to be a smaller number, so I need to move the decimal, make this number smaller. 1 is a pretty small number. We're going to make it even smaller. Okay. So 102, 1, 2 spaces, got 1 0 to fill in, so 0.0102 is the number written in standard form, standard notation. Alright, and the last one, 3.94 times 10 to the 0. Well, it's not positive, it's not negative, it's 0. We don't even move the decimal, so the number is 3.94. Decimal doesn't move if it's a 0. Okay? Go ahead and take those, doesn't matter what order, but you're going to go ahead and glue those in. Okay, take all of those, glue them in there at the bottom of the page. Okay, when I go to grade this journal entry, you get graded on completion, so I will check to see that you actually wrote all those in. Okay. You just need the littlest bit of glue, all right? Just a drop of glue and those pieces of paper will stay forever. If you put too much glue on, the pages will stick together. If the pages stick together, then I can't grade them. If I can't grade them, it's a 0. So you really don't want to use too much glue. You don't want your pages sticking together, okay? So be careful with the use of glue. Don't use too much. Literally, just a small drop is plenty to make it stick on the page forever. Okay, and it doesn't have to be perfect with the edges glued down just perfectly. They don't have to be perfectly aligned. It's not about perfection, it's about communication. Now, the reason why I have you guys do this journal is because I will have you refer back to it. If you're like working on something you need to know scientific notation, I'm going to say go to page 1 in your journal. And you'll turn to page 1 in your journal and be like, oh, there it is. I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to make you look it up. Okay? So that is the journal entry on scientific notation. Page 1 in your journal. Don't forget, make sure you have it in your table of contents. There you go.